Welcome back. Yes, indeed, Senator Yusuf joins us here on the 2023 verdict. Next, he is a senator, yes, and a governorship aspirant of the Adama's APC. Well, Senator, Taraba, I beg your pardon. But what is going on with that case at the moment? Are you still in the race? Has the party decided what to do? Is everybody coming together and singing from the same hymn sheet now?
Well, I know my own appeal, comes up on the 13th of this month at the Supreme Court, so I'm still expecting that.
You didn't withdraw it after the Supreme Court decision?
No, I didn't withdraw.
Why not?
Why should I withdraw?
I thought this one says, okay, go ahead and do
We have different cases, we have different facts, and then we have different parties.
So what do you want this time, the case?
Well, I want us to have, to a repeat of the primaries, at my reliefs, at the Federal High Court, Abuja. I asked for that relief. So, but I'm aware my sister case did not ask for that relief, at Jalingo. So our case, I want us to go back to primaries, so long as, it is feasible to do that.
But isn't it technically the same thing with the Supreme Court ruling, which sacked Senator Boacha, and then everybody's going to go back and have a fresh primary?
Well, my understanding is that, the Supreme Court based its own, judgment on the reliefs that, the David Sabo Kentes case, asked Federal High Court Jalingo to give. I'm not aware, David Kente actually asked for a rerun of the primaries.
But that's what the Supreme Court ordered.
Now, the Supreme Court did not order for a repeat of primaries as far as that case is concerned, because what they say, the reliefs 1 to 8, are granted. So it is relief 9. No, not relief 9. It is order 9 of the court, that has become odious and is discontinuance. That is the position of the Supreme Court.
So at the end of the day, is Senator Boacha not going to participate in the primary? Should there be a fresh primary?
My understanding is Section 84, subsection 13 of the Electoral Act has actually, disqualified Senator Emmanuel Boacha from contesting any other election, having not emerged from a credible, fair, free, credible, and legal primaries conducted by APC.
Section 8, subsection 13, did you say?
Section 84, subsection 13 is very, very clear.
Well, that's the same one that we've been quoting earlier in the case regarding the emergence of Senator Ahmed Lawan. Look at this. It says, where a political party fails to comply with the provisions of this act in the conduct of its primaries, its candidates for election shall not be included in the election for the particular position in issue. Is that what you're quoting?
Yeah.
I don't see how does it relate to Senator Boacha in this?
Senator Boacha, according to the party, was nominated, on the list of INEC. But the court said there was no credible primaries. So the party has failed to organize, a credible election. And as a result of that, he is disqualified by this section of the Electoral Act.
Well, while we wait to see, because you have said you have filed your own appeal and you're hoping that it will, the ruling will be given very soon. Is it next week, you said?
Yes, next week, Monday.
So next week, Monday, we look forward to seeing how the Supreme Court will rule on that same matter. There have been internal wranglings. Let me just quickly clarify. Did you pick up a ticket to run again for Senate, just in case?
No.
You didn't make it?
No, I made up my mind, 2-term Senate, that's it.
Because you would have been disqualified as a competitive aspirant.
I did it.
You cannot participate in 2 separate elections.
Would he have been disqualified? Because he would have been, he would have to be a candidate first, yes.
And then come back to, maybe the court would have thought otherwise.
Yes, some people say that maybe you missed an opportunity there, considering the verdict that Senator Lawan just got from the Supreme Court. But go. I am just a little curious, and you can comment on that if you want to, but I am a little curious as to how you're looking at the wranglings within your political party at the moment. There are those, you saw the outburst of, well, I say it was an outburst now, of Governor Governor El-Rufai on Friday last week, talking about the currency swap issue, which has caused quite a bit of furore and caused many Nigerians to be angry because of the difficulty they're currently experiencing. And I'm wondering, as a member of the APC, are you concerned about how your party is currently handling this crisis?
Well, you see, when you try to mix finance with economics, with politics, with elections, you certainly you'll have a lot of issues, to contend with. As far as I am concerned, currency swap is not a political issue. It is an economic issue. So, but people try to make it a political issue, and that's why we have problem now. For me, the government has decided to swap the currency, to change the color of the currency. Why do we do that? An economy like Nigeria, you have over 2 trillion out of the banking system. Out of the banking system, how will central bank now control money supply, to control inflation, to control, to control monetary, issues and what have you? For me, there is no specific time for CBN, to do such a thing. It does that at the right time that it feels or it gauges, the sound of the economy that it is time to do this. In fact, for me, it's even quite late. They ought to have done it much, much earlier. However, it's better to be late than never. How can you not control money, 2 trillion out of the banking system, and you say you want to do politics? How can you do that?
But Senator, I think that some think that they don't have any disagreement with CBN performing that function, but they have got challenges with the amount of time given for that to happen.
That is the issue. What is about time? What is about time? For me, that time they are talking about is not an issue at all. If we think out of the box, is this thing that can be done within a week, within 10 days, within 2 weeks at most? Is it not swapping the whole currency, into the banking system?
No, sir. That's not what is happening. You've heard the CBN governor say that he wants, as much as possible, this cashless policy to happen. So much as 2 trillion is coming back, or they're expecting as much as 2 trillion back into the banking system. They're printing about perhaps a fifth of that. That's what is going to be in circulation, because they want more transactions to be done via the many e-platforms that will now exist, or that now exist amongst the banks. And it seems that is where there is a problem, where there is cash scarcity.
Since when has the cashless policy of the federal government, started? It started long, long ago.
Indeed.
So it is matter of people, accepting the reality on the ground, that Nigeria is a global is in a global village, and it has to operate within the realism of economic globalization, in terms of we cannot just sit down and say cash, cash, cash all the time. People should learn to live within that system of transacting businesses without holding cash.
How easy is this? You are from Taraba. You represent a constituency in Taraba. How far down would you say that this policy, or this cashless policy, has permeated even the rural areas where you come from?
I agree there's a challenge there, but it's not a challenge that you cannot overcome. Like I said, let's think out of there is no village that you don't have a village head.
Can it be overcome in 10 days?
Why not? If we are serious, it can.
Doesn't mean you disagree with Senator Ndume's position that this policy, his people cannot meet up with this time?
Well, I think, if we do it and we are sincere, let even the politician participate. If we are credible politicians, we have, our local rulers and what have you. Is it not swapping the money from what you have with the new one? What is the difficulty there? And people are thinking that if you have 3 trillion and the 3 trillion must be pumped into the system again, that cannot happen. All the monies that are, most of the money that are brought in for swapping, most of them, maybe 80% of that, are 1,000 naira notes. People have not observed that. So people collected 1,000 naira notes, stocked them in their houses, and how many common people have stocked in the 1,000 naira notes?
But Senator, I mean, we've seen several videos of regular people who go to the banks, because this policy is one thing on paper, but in reality, some even go there, you see all sorts of fisticuffs, all sorts of scenarios playing out. People put in 100,000 naira, they think, yes, if it's just a swap, I put that amount in, I get that amount back. And the banks tell them, well, from the videos we've seen, some of them say, no, you can't tell me I can get only 20,000 naira, and they will not have it. So that is several people's reality about this policy.
So it is a matter of sensitization. This thing started since about when? October, November?
No. The swap itself, I mean, that's when the announcement was made. But the swap itself started in December.
Well, if it started in December, that does not mean that, it cannot be concluded within this specific period. You see, people think that I put my 10,000, give me back my 10,000. So the money is not going to remain in bank again. So the money again is out. So what is the purpose of the policy? The policy is let us retain money in the banking system, encourage people to do this electronic banking, such that...
That's the thing. Encourage people.
Yes.
But the people don't feel encouraged. They feel compelled. If you have to encourage them to put the money in the bank, there have to be incentives. They don't see any incentives.
That is what I said, What incentives do people want that is not going to be given to them? All what I'm saying, in fact, for me, for me, even the CBN, very soft.
Really?
Honestly,
How
for me, reduce the printing of 1,000 naira notes, 500 naira notes, and even 200 naira notes. Print only 100 naira notes.
Whoa.
So if you print only 100 naira notes, anybody that wants the money, give them the 100 naira notes.
Even with the inflationary scenario.
The most popular currency of United States of America is a $100 bill. The most popular of United Kingdom, a pound sterling is 50. The most popular in Nigeria is 1,000. Can you see the contradiction that we have put ourselves into?
Is it a question of contradiction? Because the highest denomination, as you have noticed, for those countries are their most popular notes. I mean, if the highest, I've never seen a $200 bill before. It's only a $100 bill that is the maximum. I've not seen any other bill beyond a 50-pound note. And Nigeria has as its highest denomination 1,000 naira. So what exactly is odd? We're comparing like for like.
No, that is elitist.
And we're not even comparing the value of what it is that these things can buy. What it is that $100 we buy today is not what 1,000 naira will buy.
That is why I say it is elitist, Maope. It is elitist when they put this 1,000. Was there any need for 1,000 naira bill? Was there any need for even 500? Was there even need for, how do you even control inflation when you have too much money pursuing little things? Make small money to pursue big things, and then you will control the economy. For a long time, this economy has been going on in one way or the other.
Is it about the money or what we produce, Senator?
Of course, it's both. Of course, we are talking about demand and supply. If you don't have money, you are going to adjust your demand.
Talking about demand and adjusting demand, I mean, we've seen that only recently the president, before the Senate went on recess, the president, made a request asking that the ways and means about 2 trillion naira in debt be adjusted, be restructured. Otherwise, Nigeria could be in trouble. There's been no resolution reached on that by the National Assembly before it went on recess. And people are wondering when exactly is the National Assembly going to take a stand on the president's request.
Our committee is working on that. I mean, the committee of the Senate working on that. And the matter is so simple. I don't know why people want to make it so complicated. If it is just restructuring, yes, we know that, the policy over a period of time has not been managed well. The ways and means advances, is supposed to be, 5% of the previous, revenue. So, and it has to be cleared within a year cycle. But that has not been done over a period of time. It has been accumulated over a period of time. What do we do? That has already been done. So we have to find the best way to do it. They cannot securitize it. The CBN Act, I think Section 30, if I remember very well, has stopped securitization of that. But if we talk about restructuring, then, we are talking about a 40-year money, at a certain percentage, to be restructured. For me, it's something that can be done. The damage has already been done. What do we do?
How hefty is this damage in your own estimation?
Well, if we are talking about 22 to 23.7 trillion naira, it is a big sum of money, about $50 billion thereabout. That's what we are talking about. IT is large, but what do we do in the circumstances? Every section of the country has benefited from this. The local governments, the state governments, the federal governments, and even the COVID and what have you. So many things has happened.
So you think that every section of the country should pay for it?
Not to pay, but to participate in how best we can solve the problem. And I think when we come back on the 20th of this month after the 25th election, by then, our committee would have, sat down and look at it. We have gotten all the details that we may require, and therefore we look at it and let's see the best way we can restructure the ways and means advances.
All right, as we wind down on this one, Senator, I mean, different scenarios playing out now. For instance, the debt profile that the next government will inherit, over 70 trillion, as has been publicized. And then less than 18 days or 19 days to election, the fuel scarcity challenge bite hard, the currency redesign, different policies just intended to squeeze Nigerians. They don't seem to find it funny at the moment, coupled with the inflationary rate. And one sits back and wonder, how does a party approach this kind of scenario or allow this kind of things to happen in an election year? Is there something going on? Is the party trying to throw these elections or what?
Let me tell you, sir, this party has left its own ways of participating in governance. The APC has not participated in governance. I don't think APC since 2015 has in any particular year delved seriously on the budget of the federal government. They ought to have even prepared their own budget, the national budget, for the purpose of discussing with government, for the purpose of discussing with National Assembly, for the purpose of discussing with others. APC has not done that as a party. And if you have a manifesto, and then you are not partaking, you are not participating effectively, in running of the governance, and you say you sit down, well, we are a party, we have government, and therefore let government do whatever, whether the government does the manifesto or it does not follow the manifesto of the party as far as we are concerned, so be it. For me, the party has been negligent over a period of time in terms of participating effectively in the governance of this country.
So it is only fair that the party be punished? If it loses, you will not be surprised?
I don't want to look at it from the point of punishment. I want to look at it from the view of understanding, something that ought to have been done which was not done. And then how do we effectively, mention it to the Nigerian people that, we are in the process of making good of what we didn't do, now we will do.
Isn't that too late now?
It is not too late. 24 hours in politics is a long period of time.
I thought some of your colleagues say, if by now the electorate who have made up their minds, it will be difficult to change.
Maybe not, Because as far as I'm concerned, I've been in election at least in 2015, 2019. Sometimes, within 24 hours, you sit down and you negotiate and you get the kind of votes you will get.
Well, I know Senator decamp a lot, so maybe that might have been
I have never decamped. My only party that I've ever known is APC, and you can see I have my APC ring with me, and I'm going to work for APC.
Interesting. Thank you very much indeed, Senator.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
He is a governorship aspirant for Taraba State. All the best.